Since no one complained, it was taken as accepted. Felix found a room with a drum set, along with other music-related objects. After much searching, Han discovered a room filled with plenty of firewood ready to use. Jianjin helped with everything the older ones asked of him. Hyunjin followed his instincts until he concluded that the sea-themed paintings couldn't just be a coincidence. Lino added to what the previous one said, noting that as he recalled everything he remembered upon hearing the voice, he deduced several things. The voice sounded adolescent. The sound before hearing her speak seemed strange yet hypnotic, and in the background, he thought he heard the crashing of waves, which was curious as it coincided with the younger one's deduction. It was nearly 9 o'clock at night. They still showed no signs of sleepiness. To avoid getting bored, they decided to head to the music room Felix had found to see if the instruments still worked. Bang Chan was the first to try a chord on the drum set in the middle of the room. Seeing that it worked, everyone decided to try the rest of the instruments, which included guitars and microphones. After testing them separately, and then as if they were a band, they took the initiative to try to recreate the hypnotic sound produced by the ghost. All attempts were in vain as they couldn't achieve it. More tired and somewhat frustrated, they went to sleep. The next day at breakfast, while sitting at the dining table talking as if they had just finished eating, they encountered the ghost again. This time she laughed at them while destroying the wood of the walls and ceiling, hearing them plead for her not to do it until she transported them to a beach that seemed completely empty. When they could react, they had no choice but to accept what had happened. Having no alternatives but to explore the island where they now found themselves. To make the most of the daylight hours, they decided to traverse the entire island among the palm trees that surrounded them, making it difficult to orient themselves, creating the sensation of not being able to reach the shore. After walking a good distance, everyone began to lose any sense of hope, but that didn't stop them, and they continued until they felt the soft sand of the beach beneath their feet. What truly surprised them was the enormous piece of ice situated in the middle of the sea, appearing as if it were a decoration of the same. They wanted to approach and touch it, but as they walked towards it, they realized that going on foot was impossible. They would have to make a boat from logs and try again. The first step would be to find something to cut the palm trees. But first, they would need to spend the night somewhere sheltered from the elements. They would only succeed if they found a cave. After exploring the entire island, their best option turned out to be a cave hidden behind some leaves acting as a door. Upon entering, they observed that it was a dry area without humidity or unwanted bugs. It wasn't a room with beds, but it could have been worse. The next morning, they woke up rested, as it seemed all 8 had recovered from the previous day. Before they could think about where to start, Jianjin's stomach growled as if he hadn't eaten in a long time. To fill their stomachs, they had to leave the cave. As they took the path to the exit, they made a mistake and ended up in a deeper part of the cave with an altar on which a sword was placed. The boys were astonished at such a thing and decided to leave it to chance by playing rock, paper, scissors. When the game ended, the chosen one was Hyunjin, who approached slowly but surely, filled with a mix of fear and intrigue, until he stood in front of the altar and proceeded to grasp it by the hilt, finally seeing that nothing significant happened. After the unexpected situation, they took the path back and finally reached the exit, receiving the rays of sunlight. From that moment on, they dedicated themselves to cutting down palm trees, taking turns with the sword until they had enough logs to make a boat.